If you really can't stand Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, his incredibly over-the-top eating habits and super luxurious lifestyle are sure to make you dislike him even more. While his own people are dealing with extreme hunger and malnutrition, he's indulging in the world's finest cheeses, savoring expensive liquors, and casually tossing around thousands of dollars for a single night of entertainment. Stay tuned and watch this video till the end, because this is what a typical day in the life of Kim Jong-un looks like. Mornings. Unlike most world leaders who have a fixed waking hour, the supreme leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, has a schedule that is a bit all over the place. Although there is not much known about it, but it depends upon how much he partied and had to drink the night before. So you can say that Kim Jong-un doesn't really have a fixed wake-up time. However, when it comes to starting the day for his country, he employs a rather unique approach. He awakens the citizens of its capital city, Pyongyang, by blaring a peculiar song through the city via loudspeakers. And it's not your typical wake-up call, mind you. The song is titled, "Where Are You, Dear General?" and it's a North Korean composition, supposedly written by Kim Jong-il, father of Kim Jong-un, in 2008. Since then, this tune has been playing around Pyongyang railway station in the mornings, and it's definitely not the sort of thing you'd want to wake up to, that's for sure. It's more like the eerie sounds of ghosts haunting the entire city. It seems like this specific wake-up routine is just for the citizens of North Korea, not for the supreme leader Kim Jong-un himself, as Mr. Kim begins his morning in his lavish palace. He typically begins his day at the Ryong residence, where he resides with his wife, Ri Sol-ju, and their kids. This residence is also known as the Central Luxury Mansion, and it was constructed in 1983. Now it's clear that the Ryong residence isn't an ordinary residence, because this is where Kim Jong-un, or as the people of North Korea call him, the supreme leader, resides. This palace contains all the fancy amenities like lakefront banquet halls, a substantial 15-meter wide and 50-meter long swimming pool with a water slide and a running track. Moreover, it has an athletic field, a spa and sauna, horse stables with a riding area, a shooting range, a horse racing track and whatnot. Coming back to his daily routine. Now, if we think about what an ordinary person does after rolling out of bed in the morning, it's usually a quick trip to the bathroom, right? But hold on, because it appears that Kim Jong-un might not be part of the loo regulars club. Yes, you heard it right. You know, North Korea has come up with quite an unusual claim about their godly leader, Kim Jong-un. Apparently, they're saying he's so devoted and hardworking to help the Korean people prosper that they burn all their energy and there is simply no waste. And believe it or not, they've made similar claims about his father, Kim Jong-il, and even his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, in the past. It might sound a bit funny to you, but that's what the North Koreans believe, or are perhaps strongly encouraged to believe. No one can really say. Now, nobody in their right mind would believe something so impossible. The thing is, North Koreans are brainwashed to such an extent that they see their dictator as a supreme leader, as a god, so they idolize him as a holy personality. The regime shaped their thinking in such a way that they believe their leader doesn't need to bother with earthly matters like using the toilet. If you listen to their stories, the common citizens of North Korea that escaped the country where they got the chance to share their story with the rest of the world, they reveal how they survived in this isolated country. They brainwash us since our birth, and they tell us that Kims are gods, so that I will think that Kim Jong-un can read my mind. And I thought that if I think bad things, he's gonna kill me, because he can read my thoughts. But does Kim Jong-un care? Absolutely not. He begins his day with a freshly brewed cup of coffee, as if he has the busiest schedule known to mankind. Of course, for the supreme leader whose days must be overflowing with earth-shattering responsibilities, a cup of coffee is the ultimate fatigue-fighting solution, right? Now, that's probably the only common thing most people can relate to, the morning cup of coffee. But don't jump to conclusions too quickly, because the similarity ends right there. While many of us might go for an ordinary cup of joe, the North Korean leader goes all out, picking only the best exotic coffee blends money can buy, and you can bet it costs a pretty penny. Kim is a fan of the finest Brazilian coffee. This coffee is just one of many luxury items he imports, both for his personal enjoyment and for the privileged circles surrounding him. Historical data suggests that it often goes up to $500 per pound. In 2016 alone, North Korea reportedly flew in almost $1 million worth of Brazilian coffee for its supreme leader. However, it's not merely the price tag that sets it apart. It's also its rarity and difficulty to obtain within North Korea, making it a symbol of Kim Jong-un's extravagant lifestyle and authority. This coffee is just one example of his opulent taste, and we can only hope he shares some of it with his friends and family. After getting his early morning caffeine fix, it's time for Mr. Kim's grand breakfast. But did you know almost half of North Korea's population hardly has anything to eat? A UN report suggests an estimated 12 million North Koreans are struggling with hunger and food shortages.
아버지만 어디? 엄마. 뭘 먹고? 어?
Ironically, at the same time, their leader, Kim Jong-un, is savoring the breakfast of many people's dreams. His luxurious table, crowded with delicious dishes, raises many eyebrows. That isn't surprising, considering one of the few things we know about him is that Kim Jong-un loves eating, and it's the most important part of his day. And let's not forget, Kim's got quite the waistline to prove it. So instead of simply munching on cereal or toast, obviously he goes for a breakfast spread fit for a king. But what does his morning feast actually look like? Well, no appetizer for him. He starts big with high-quality bacon, sausages, and premium steaks. Don't mistake them for your common breakfast meats. We're talking about prime cuts like Italian Parma ham and Wagyu beef. The sad part about this is that while Kim enjoys his meat delicacies, his people only survive on boiled rice and bean paste. They have a strict vegetarian diet with no access to animal protein, probably because their leader stuffs himself with almost all of the country's meat, not to mention the world's. You wouldn't believe the staggering amount he spends on shipping high-quality cuts from around the globe. Take the Kobe beef steak, for example. It is a must-have on Kim's table. He likes his steak medium rare to rare, and the same goes for its availability. This Japanese steak ranks as one of the planet's most expensive beef, going for $200 to $500 per pound. With a price tag like that, you know the supreme leader has to have it. His love for this pricey steak comes from his father, Kim Jong II. The family's former sushi chef, Kenji Fujimoto, revealed that the father and son duo used to dine on Kobe steak together. And that's not the only revelation coming from Chef Fujimoto. He also mentioned that sushi is a common visitor to the brutal dictator's table. Well, sushi is usually seen as a healthy choice, but when it comes to Kim Jong-un, he goes for the less healthy option without a second thought. The North Korean leader opts for sushi made with toro, the tuna's fatty part. No wonder he weighs 300 pounds. But we can't put all the blame on sushi. Kim's weight has more to do with his undying love for Swiss Emmental cheese. He got a taste of it while studying in Switzerland, and the rest is history. There was no prying this luxurious aromatic cheese from his hands. His obsession with it even took a dark turn when he got gout due to it in 2014. But did he stop eating it? Seems doubtful. The same year, North Korean officials went to a French dairy school to get more fancy cheese for their leader. They wanted to learn how to make it, but got turned down. Knowing this notorious ruler, he would have somehow found a way to get his hands on it. Nothing is out of his reach, no matter how expensive, rare, or even banned. You heard that right. The North Korean ruler adores lobster and caviar too. Both items banned from entering North Korea by the UN, but no ban is stopping him. Kim still imports the finest Caspian Sea caviar and high-quality lobster to satisfy his fancy seafood cravings. Even though he and his father, who also loved lobster, tried to set up a freshwater lobster farm at home, it never took off, so got to resort to importing. Another seafood rarity he enjoys is shark fin soup, a controversial dish fit for a controversial leader. This East Asian delicacy is so popular that it has led to the near extinction of sharks, raising many environmental and ethical concerns. But if Kim isn't worried about nuclear backlash, why would he worry about sharks? And if you thought drinking shark soup was nasty, wait until you hear about the Supreme Leader's favorite elite snake wine. That has a dead cobra inside its bottle. Thankfully, his non-alcoholic beverage choice is somewhat tame. As you might have figured by now, he doesn't exactly follow the healthiest diet, so you can bet that exercise is not a part of his morning routine. He even has a team of high-class scientists who have the sole mission of prolonging his life as much as possible. It's almost as if they're trying to ensure he stays supreme leader for an eternity. As reported by the Washington Post, Kim Jong-un has been receiving medical treatments from a team of Russian doctors who visit him regularly to assess his health and provide injections and medications. And of course, we shouldn't forget about his personal chef, who whips up lavish meals including ingredients like blueberries, black garlic, and ginseng, all thought to work wonders against the aging process. Now that's what we call living the high life, isn't it? Daily activities. Once Mr. Kim is stuffed enough to get started for the day, he steps out of his impressive mansion and pays visits to factories, construction sites, farms, and markets. This elaborate routine serves as part of a propaganda campaign designed to make the people of North Korea believe that Kim genuinely cares about their welfare. However, his public persona is far from his true self. But before Kim makes a public appearance, he goes through an elaborate process to project the image of a king. After all, he does hold the title of Supreme Leader, doesn't he? And don't even ask about Mr. Kim's style. He's very particular about what he wears and how he styles his hair. Typically, he's seen in a dark suit and tie, or sometimes a Mao-style jacket reminiscent of his grandfather's attire. His haircut is also quite unique, featuring shaved sides and a longer top that gives the illusion of greater height. However, no one in North Korea dares to sport that particular haircut. Kim Jong-un has approved specific hairstyles for North Korean citizens. He's so particular about it that he even broadcasts TV shows to teach people how to cut their hair in a manner that aligns with the socialist lifestyle. There are only 28 states state-approved hairstyles, 18 for women and 10 for men. Interestingly, none of the approved hairstyles resemble the one worn by the supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, because he wants to be the only one rocking that hairdo. Some might describe it as resembling a mushroom, a mop, or even a pineapple. But they better keep their opinions to themselves, because Kim doesn't take kindly to criticism. And why should he? After all, Kim Jong-un is the supreme leader of North Korea, and who needs logic and reason when you have the wisdom of a supreme leader, right? He believes he can establish any rules in his country, no matter how odd or nonsensical they may seem. Anyone in North Korea, or even the entire world, thinks 1,000 times before criticizing Kim's regime. When it comes to his hobbies and personal interests, Kim Jong-un is known for his passion for basketball, particularly the NBA, National Basketball Association. He developed an interest in the sport during his time studying in Switzerland, where he reportedly became a fan of the Chicago Bulls. His fascination with basketball led him to develop a somewhat unconventional friendship with former NBA player Dennis Rodman. What's even more surprising is that Kim called him his friend for life. It is important to note that the relationship between the US and North Korea has always been complicated. They have had periods of tension and conflict, often related to North Korea's nuclear weapons program and missile tests. However, the only thing which connects North Korea and the United States is Dennis Rodman.
America has just witnessed a truly strange encounter. Who became the first American to meet with the new leader of North Korea? The wild child of basketball, Dennis Rodman.
Rodman first visited North Korea in 2013, and it was during this visit that he met Kim Jong-un. The two struck up an unusual friendship centered around their shared love for basketball. Despite the controversy surrounding Rodman's visits and the political tensions between North Korea and the US, he maintained that his friendship with Kim Jong-un was primarily about basketball and not politics.
But Rodman had already tweeted this to the world from North Korea: "I'm not a politician. Kim Jong-un and North Korean people are basketball fans. I love everyone." His tweet did not note that use of Twitter is forbidden to citizens of the country he had just come to love.
In public appearances, Kim is hardly ever spotted without one of his numerous high-end watches gracing his wrist. According to the Telegraph newspaper, his personal collection is valued at more than a staggering $8.2 million. Can you believe it? Furthermore, he never leaves home without his trusty binoculars. You know, just in case he spots a surprise rocket launch while strolling through the park. Got to stay vigilant, right? But how does Kim travel from one place to another? You might think that he would have some difficulty getting luxury cars in North Korea, since they are banned from export by international sanctions. But Kim doesn't let that stop him. He's got quite the car collection, including an Audi R8 worth $162,000, a Range Rover that sets him back a cool $100K, and even an armored Rolls-Royce Phantom that's north of $500,000. But you know what his absolute favorite is? That Mercedes Maybach limousine. When he wants to make an entrance, he rolls up in that Mercedes-Benz limo, which costs a hefty $1.6 million. Not just that, he's got a bunch of other fancy sports cars and race cars in his garage, totaling over 100 luxury vehicles. Just to give you an idea, he once drove his $500K Rolls-Royce Phantom to meet with Mike Pompeo, the former CIA director. But that's not even the end. Kim Jong-un also spends lavishly on other things that most North Koreans can only dream of. Take, for instance, Kim's 95-foot luxury yacht. Most people can only dream of owning a yacht, but Kim Jong-un is a proud owner of the 95 M1 My Princess, and don't even dare to think that it's just any yacht. This impressive yacht is estimated to be worth an estimated $7 million and is used for official state visits and leisure trips. It is owned by the French multinational conglomerate Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, known as LVMH, renowned for luxury brands like Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior. It is a British motor vessel equipped with 3 spacious decks, a kitchen, a sizable salon, a gourmet area, and a dining section for up to 10 people. It also has a stateroom, a full kitchen, and 4 luxurious bedrooms. It can comfortably accommodate up to 8 people in its cabins, each with its own private bathroom. Dennis Rodman once had the opportunity to describe the interior of Kim's luxury yacht and likened it to a blend of a ferry and a Disney-themed boat. It's definitely like a floating luxury resort for the one and only supreme leader. Now, don't think for a second that this is Kim's only yacht. Interestingly, satellite images revealed that apart from his personal compound, there's another yacht in the docks, measuring around 100 feet in length. An article by NK News even suggested that Kim Jong-un possesses a fleet of jet skis, a water slide equipped boat, and a 60-meter-long leisure boat. It's almost as if he's trying to keep up with the the Kardashians. Kim Kardashian might have her reality show, but Kim Jong-un has his own version of keeping up with the yachts of the dictatorship. By now, it's pretty clear that the North Korean dictator likes to live in style and comfort, all while his people face extreme poverty and hunger. The cost of his watch collection alone could provide 3 meals for half the country, but Kim gives zero care about them. How cruel is that? Sadly, about 24% of the annual budget of DPRK is spent on the people that ensure he will stay in power, the military, and another 30% is spent entirely on him and his inner circle. Still, Kim needs to keep up this charade, and he does it splendidly. He smiles, takes group pictures, and waves to the cheering crowds who view him as their supreme leader. However, Kim also knows that he's not so loved by everyone. That's why he's willing to spend millions on his personal security. He's always surrounded by a team of bodyguards, and getting into that squad is no joke. These guards aren't just skilled with weapons, they're highly trained combatants and martial artists. But to land a spot on this exclusive team, you've got to be shorter than 5'5". You know, Kim doesn't like being small, so he makes sure no one on his security detail stands taller than him. Additionally, Kim lives in a heavily guarded house that has tall walls, tight security checks, and surveillance cameras. He also uses encrypted communication to keep his conversations secret and relies on a small group of loyal advisors who support him. This extensive security plan is what protects him throughout the day. The North Korean leader travels on 3 identical planes to confuse potential threats and reduce the risk of being shot down. He frequently changes his flight plans at the last minute and employs decoy vehicles on the ground. He's always on the lookout for any signs of danger. And of course, why wouldn't someone who can orchestrate his own brother's assassination be concerned about his personal security? Yes, you heard it right. In order to maintain a firm grip on his power in North Korea, Kim Jong-un ordered the assassination of his half-brother, whom he saw as a potential rival and a threat to his rule. Many people are not aware that Kim Jong-un had a half-brother as well. His name was Kim Jong-nam. Kim Jong-nam was once the heir apparent to the North Korean leadership, but he fell out of favor with his father, Kim Jong-il, after being caught trying to enter Japan with a fake passport in 2001. On the 13th of February 2017, Kim Jong-nam was at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, waiting to board a flight to Macau. As he walked past a column, a woman approached him and wiped an oily substance on his face. Moments later, another woman came from behind and covered his eyes with her hands. She then slid them down over his mouth, quickly apologized, and walked away. The substance that was smeared on Kim Jong-nam's face was VX nerve agent, one of the most deadly chemical weapons in the world. It causes paralysis, convulsions, and death by suffocation. Kim Jong-nam died within 20 minutes of the attack before he could reach a hospital. The assassination was caught on CCTV cameras and sparked an international outcry. It is believed that the mastermind behind this attack was none other than his own brother, Kim Jong-un. But why did he do that? Well, people say that Kim Jong-un feared that his brother could challenge his authority or undermine his image as the sole leader of North Korea, and it seems clear that he succeeded in his plans. The assassination of Kim Jong-nam showed how far Kim Jong-un is willing to go to eliminate enemies. Furthermore, the killing was a warning to anyone in the regime who might think of disobeying Kim Jong-un. By mercilessly killing his own brother, Kim Jong-un strengthened his absolute authority and demonstrated his readiness to do anything to maintain his power. Nightlife. Now, you might think that after a long day of earth-shattering responsibilities and leadership duties, Kim would want to kick back and spend some quality time with his lovely wife and kids, right? Well, you might be wrong here, because the reality is quite the opposite. Well, in reality, Kim primarily reserves his evenings for his entertainment. One of the most impressive means of his entertainment is his own private theater, where he watches any movie or show he wants on a huge screen with a state-of-the-art sound system. Kim often invites his close friends, family members, and loyal officials to join him in watching his favorite movies and shows. According to the reports, Kim likes to watch Hollywood blockbusters, Disney cartoons, James Bond films, action movies starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Arnold Schwarzenegger, musicals such as The Sound of Music and Les Miserables, and documentaries about animals and nature. He also likes to watch foreign TV channels such as CNN and the BBC to keep up with world news. Interestingly, he sometimes watches South Korean dramas and movies as well, despite the fact that they are strictly banned in North Korea. Kim Jong-un's private theater is not only a place for entertainment, but also for propaganda. He often uses it to show off his achievements and power to his guests. For example, in August 2023, he held a banquet at his theater to celebrate North Korea's Navy Day. He invited hundreds of sailors and officers to join him in watching a video of North Korea's latest nuclear missile test. The video showed a scale model of a nuclear missile decorated with flowers and flags on a stage in front of the screen. The guests cheered and applauded as they watched the missile launch into the sky. When talking about entertainment, it's impossible to ignore ignore Kim Jong-un's extravagant parties. He's famous for throwing lavish parties that take luxury to a whole new level. Dennis once got a chance to attend one of his parties and says he's got 50 to 60 people around him all the time. Just normal people drinking cocktails and laughing the whole time. If you drink a bottle of tequila, it's the best tequila. Everything you want, he has the best. These over-the-top parties are all about fancy food, drinks, and most importantly, women. Interestingly, our supreme leader also has something known as a secret harem, although it's not much of a secret anymore. It's just another extravagant part of his life. Secret harems, or kipum-jo as they're called in North Korea, are groups of about 2,000 women whose job it is to entertain Kim Jong-un and his high-up officials in North Korea. According to reports, these women are split into different groups. Some sing and dance, others give massages, and some, well, they're there for more intimate activities. Now, you might be wondering about the fact that Kim Jong-un has a gorgeous wife, Ri Sol-ju, and is publicly presented as a family man. However, there is speculation among some people that his wife often accompanies him in public appearances to create the image of him as a regular and compassionate leader in the eyes of the public. Never mind that he has a wife, he does whatever he likes with slaves, and he sure seems to care a lot about how his harem looks. You won't believe it, but in 2016, he spent a whopping $3.8 million just on their lingerie. He also makes them go through serious medical checks to make sure they stay in good shape. Some people also say that he buys the expensive snake wine because it's believed to have traditional medicinal properties in North Korea that can boost a person's virility. While local alcohol is cheap and readily available, it clearly isn't to Kim's taste. Instead, he reportedly spends an average of $30 million each year on importing liquor into the country for his elite circles. There are even rumors that he's imported high-quality sauna equipment to help him recover from hangovers. What's more intriguing is that he regularly imports more alcohol for his own personal use than most people will ever drink in their entire lives. In 2019, for example, the Dutch port of Rotterdam seized 90,000 bottles of Russian vodka, which officials believed were headed for Pyongyang. In Rotterdam, a vessel affiliated with a Chinese firm known as COSCO Shipping was intercepted based on information provided by the Russian Foreign Ministry. Upon inspection by customs officials, approximately 3,000 cases of vodka were discovered on board. The United Nations had previously imposed a ban on exporting luxury items to North Korea, but over the past couple of years, North Korea has been attempting to circumvent these international sanctions. Reportedly, this vodka was intended for the enjoyment of Kim Jong-un and his high-ranking military officers. While this specific shipment didn't quite reach Pyongyang, it's highly likely that numerous similar shipments regularly make their way to the shores of North Korea. Champagne Cristal is also a favorite amongst Earth's worst despots. Kim Jong-un, of course, is no exception. During his sit-down with the Daily Mail, Kenji Fujimoto revealed that Kim's love of fancy booze has probably contributed to his ever-expanding waistline. Fujimoto told the website he drank a lot. His favorite was Cristal, usually about 2 bottles in a sitting. Produced by the Louis Roederer estate, Cristal was created in 1876 at the behest of Tsar Alexander II of Russia. Described by the estate as a remarkably balanced and refined champagne, Cristal is known for its silky texture and fruity aromas. Perhaps more importantly, however, it is also ludicrously expensive. Bottles regularly sell for well over $100, with some larger formats going for upwards of $11,000. Considering the name Cristals is practically synonymous with a lavish, extravagant lifestyle, it's not surprising that Kim enjoys it so much. His favorites also include the high-priced Hennessy, a renowned French cognac brand. During Kim Jong-il's reign, it was reported that North Korea allocated roughly $1 million annually for Hennessy, which costs about $630 per bottle within North Korea. To put this into perspective, that's more money than the majority of North Koreans earn in an entire year. Kim Jong-il himself was frequently seen enjoying Hennessy at meetings and international summits, and it's quite likely that Kim Jong-un has inherited this particular taste. It's not difficult to imagine that there might still be remnants of Kim Jong-il's Hennessy collection tucked away somewhere. Although the precise quantity of Hennessy that Kim Jong-un consumes daily remains uncertain, the nation's substantial expenditure on importing it suggests they bring in thousands of bottles each year. Even when considering his military attaché, entourage, and personal acquaintances, that amounts to an impressive quantity of cognac. Kenji Fujimoto says that Kim Jong-un really likes French wine, and once claimed to have drunk 10 bottles of Bordeaux in a single night. But this claim comes from a guy who said Kim started driving when he was just 3 years old, so you might want to take it with a pinch of salt. Now, when it comes to cost, Bordeaux wine can range from quite cheap, like a few dollars a bottle, to incredibly expensive, reaching thousands of dollars, depending on the specific winery and year. But let's be honest, it's highly unlikely that Kim went for the cheap stuff. Now let's talk about that 10 bottles in one night assertion. A typical bottle of red wine usually holds about 5 glasses, so on that memorable evening, Kim would have consumed approximately 50 standard-sized drinks. Just to put things in perspective, even having just 5 glasses of wine every week can have significant negative health consequences and potentially shorten your lifespan. When it comes to the exact health effects of someone downing 50 glasses of wine in a single sitting, our knowledge is rather limited. This is largely because accomplishing such a feat without passing out or encountering severe health problems would be next to impossible. When you've got billions, it's not likely that you'll be found at your local store asking the cashier for cigarettes from behind the counter. And that's the case with Kim Jong-un, who splashes out on French designer cigarettes, including well-known brands like Marlboro and Dunhill, along with high-end snacks traditionally enjoyed with alcohol. The Yves Saint Laurent variety that he prefers sells for $44 per pack, and the accompanying leather case to carry them in costs $165. Can you believe it? It's clear that Kim's nighttime routine is quite unusual and not so healthy. At night, Kim Jong-un engages in discussions about the country's affairs, providing a facade of leadership involvement. Although his trusted advisors and experts make most of the state's decisions, these late-night meetings allow him to seem involved in the nation's problems. This symbolic participation allows Kim Jong-un to maintain the image of a leader who is genuinely concerned about his country's affairs, even though the practical decision-making often rests with his advisors. Finally, after a day filled with unsettling activities like executions and excessive eating and partying, he faces sleep problems, mainly due to a combination of factors. As we know, Kim indulges in heavy drinking, often to the point of passing out drunk. It will not be wrong to say that he can't seem to fall asleep without consuming a significant amount of alcohol beforehand. This excessive drinking might contribute to his sleep problems. His sleep schedule is also erratic, which means he stays up late into the night. One reason for this is his reported insomnia, which makes it hard for him to get a good night's sleep. Insomnia can be linked to a troubled mind or feelings of guilt, which could be relevant in his case. But it's not just his mental state that affects his sleep. Unhealthy habits like overeating and a growing dependence on alcohol and nicotine are also likely culprits. Kim Jong-un has a taste for expensive food and drinks, which can take a toll on his health. Additionally, some North Koreans who have managed to escape the regime claim that Kim Jong-un is deeply paranoid about being assassinated in his sleep. Given the controversial actions he's taken, like executing his own uncle and oppressing his nation, it's understandable that such paranoia could affect his psychological well-being. Anyways, that is it for today's video. What do you think is the most surprising or shocking thing about Kim Jong-un's daily life that you did not expect? Let us know in the comments below, and check out these videos on your screen for more interesting content.